I present to you a young gentleman, one of our own San Franciscans, who has certainly been a credit to boxing, both in and out of the ring. Will you accord a nice San Francisco welcome for the former middleweight champion of the world from San Francisco, Fred Apostoli. Ladies and gentlemen, also in the ring with me at the moment is another young gentleman who at the present time is campaigning, and I may say very successfully, in the light heavyweight division. You will remember him as San Francisco's own former middleweight champion of the world, Carl Bobo Olsen. Ladies and gentlemen, not too many years ago, a big bear emerged from the hills of Livermore, California. He went on to become one of our extremely popular champions. And I would like at this time to present the Clown Prince of Vistania, the hard-hitting, colorful former heavyweight champion of the world, Max Baer. Ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please, for just one moment. It is indeed a pleasure for me to present our next personality to you. And if I were to say that he is one of our popular champions, I think that would have to be the understatement of this or any other year. Because I think that all of you here gathered this evening will agree with me when I say that he is one of the greatest champions in the history of boxing. Would you be kind enough to greet the magician with the gloves, the sensational light heavyweight champion, Archie Moore. Ladies and gentlemen, may I remind you that all ringside officials and boxers are under the supervision of and assigned by the California State Athletic Commission, Mr. Jack Urch, Executive Officer. Your ringside officials are timekeeper Dr. Louis Lichtenstein, counting for the knockdowns Mr. Emmett Stevenson, physicians in attendance at ringside the doctors Don Lestretto, Robert Durand, your judges Jack Silver and Fred Botero, your referee Jack Downey. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the feature presentation of the evening. 15 rounds for the middleweight championship of the world as sanctioned by the NBA, the National Boxing Association. It is my pleasure on my left in the red corner to present to you a young gentleman from West Jordan, Utah, wearing black trunks striped with white, weighing 159 1/2 pounds, the very colorful former popular middleweight. And in the blue corner, his equally worldwide opponent. You'll remember him very, very well, ladies and gentlemen. He is from Conestoga and Chittenango, New York. He is wearing white trunks striped with black. He is weighing 156 pounds. The former popular and sensational welterweight and middleweight champion of the world, Carmen Basilio.
Both of you men have received your instructions from the chief inspector. Both of you men have received your instructions from Chief Inspector Willie Ritchie at the Commission office today. I'm not going to go through the instructions again. I want to remind you, though, that when I tell you to break out of your clinches, break clean, don't hit on the break, shake hands now, and may the better man win. And,
This fight is scored on the 10-point must system. 10 points for the winner of each round, 9, 8, or less for the loser. If the round is even, 10 points for both men. They're using 8-ounce gloves. No mandatory 8 count, no 3 knockdown rule. Real rough first round. One minute. Fullmer said he had 3 plans of attack. Be interesting to see if we can decipher.
Fullmer scoring very well, really, bouncing that glove, especially that right, off Basilio's chin. Now it's Carmen's turn. Ten seconds. That's the end of round 1. Well, this big crowd here tonight really saw a terrific first round. That's what they came to see. The styles are that way. 2 good punchers. 2 former world champions. Carmen Basilio is in the white trunks. Gene Fullmer in the black. You notice Fullmer used to plow forward all the time. Now he's moving backward, jabbing as he goes. He's adopted a sort of an Archie Moore wraparound protection. Boy, the crowd loves this. And then pile it in there. In Carmen's corner, Mario Spinato, Angelo Dundee, and Al Silvani. He's the former middleweight champion of the world, the ex-welterweight champion, Carmen. Because of his slam-bang, all-put-out performance, he's perhaps the most popular boxer in the world today. When he first won the welterweight title from Tony DeMarco, he promised to be a fighting champ, and he's been all of that regardless of the weight division. Been boxing since he was 14, enlisted in the Marines when he was 17, saw service on Guam and at Pearl Harbor, came home, entered the Syracuse Herald-Journal Golden Gloves. Even after being eliminated an early round, he continued his interest in boxing, turned pro in 48. His ring career thereafter was just so-so, but after marrying Kay Simpkins, his career seemed to change overnight. He boxed in Madison Square Garden while on his honeymoon. While his first interest was in farming and onions, he now owns an apple orchard. He's a converted southpaw. Carmen Basilio, 54-13, 27 knockouts. Last fight, April 1st, KO'd Arlie Seifer at Augusta, Georgia. Fullmer jabbing, moving, jabbing and moving. Carmen stalking his man, is more of a stationary target himself when Fullmer moves in. One minute. Ten seconds. That's the end of round 3. Fullmer strategy is rather apparent. He's boxing outside, moving into counter occasionally. He hurt Carmen then. Been very effective. He's changed his style since the last time we saw him. Fullmer has. He's got great legs, the legs of a six-day bike rider, and he's using them to advantage. Terrific right. Two rights caught Carmen. Carmen, a stationary target against a moving boy. Another left hook. Fullmer sharp tonight. Fullmer fought himself out of that very neatly. Let's take a look at Fullmer. Marv Jensen, his manager, is first in the ring with Angelo Curley and Billy Newman. They're working over Fullmer now, both men unmarked. Fullmer is a rugged, honest, toe-to-toe performer. He's never been in a dull fight. He comes from a farm region in Utah. His father, an ex-boxer, taught him the fundamentals. Age may be a factor. Carmen Basilio is 32. Fullmer is 28. Fullmer had to dry out to make the weight, and he estimates that he now weighs about 163. Carmen said that he expected to put on about 2 pounds since the weigh-in at 10 o'clock this morning. Ideal night for about 62 degrees in San Francisco. Fullmer wraps his arms around himself because a great percentage of Basilio's hooks are to the body. One minute. 10 seconds. Fullmer boxing beautifully. That's the end of round 5. Fullmer seems to wait until after Carmen has thrown a combination, and as Carmen stays low, then Fullmer lashes out and usually scores 1 or 2 shots. Carmen fighting his usual style, pressing forward, carries the battle right to you. 3 minutes of the round, stalking, moving forward, always. Fullmer stays right outside of range most of the time. Real good photography, beautiful close-up. Gives a real flavor of this fight, a terrific fight. That's the bang-bang action you've been watching ever since the start. Look, that crowd yelled. Fullmer, very accurate tonight. A great round, and the applause is merited. It's been a rattling good fight, a lot of action, and let's see what comes now, because we've got 15 rounds to go. And this is round 8. Excuse me, it's round 9. That near knockdown seems to have infuriated Carmen, because he's glowering and moving forward, trying desperately to nail an elusive target. Fullmer stays just out of range and only moves in when he sees Carmen step back a little or lower his guard. Fullmer is feeling very cocky. He's beginning to wind up now and pitch that right. He feels he's got his man hurt. He's wearing him down. This steady barrage started in round 1. 1 minute to round 9. This may not go the distance. Ten seconds. That's the end of round 9. Poor Carmen, he's been standing there with his chin wide open at times, and all Fullmer has to do is pop that glove on it. Carmen is having trouble getting through Fullmer's gloves. If you notice, Fullmer wraps his gloves around his chin and his arms around his body, and here is a very good close-up as we see his handlers go into action. They feel very confident, of course, as a result of the course of this fight. Marv Jensen, Angelo Curley, and Billy Newman ministrating to him there. Fullmer has found a way, he figures, I don't know whether it's going to work eventually, of thwarting Basilio's hooks to the body and hooks to the chin. And Fullmer has been so far very fortunate in avoiding any direct shots or any great series of direct shots on the chin or the body. Carmen's corner working on him, rubbing his legs, putting ice packs. He has a slight swelling. Neither boy is cut, but there are plenty of bruises and bumps. Of a 15-rounder, it's round 11 coming up. Well, let's take a look at Carmen. You know, sometimes you can tell by the expressions of handlers and a fighter just how the fight is going. Now, Carmen, here's a boy of great heart. He makes every fight. He moves forward all the time. He plows straight ahead as if he were on a railroad track. He comes right at you, and he's the type of fighter you know that you're going to have to carry him out there. He's not going to quit. You can see a few bumps on his face, but there are no cuts. Angelo Dundee sponging him off. 32-year-old Carmen Basilio, veteran of 74 fights. This is his 75th fight. Never been knocked out. Real rugged. But he ran into, oh boy. 1 minute. Ten seconds. Fullmer bleeding from the nose. Carmen Basilio in the white trunks, in case you just tuned in. Gene Fullmer in the black. Both former champions boxing here tonight in the Cow Palace for the NBA Middleweight Championship of the world. 2 rounds to go. Two rounds to go after this round. This is round 13. Well, Fullmer wound up in his corner. A spatter of applause from the crowd. Fullmer, of course, is the underdog. It was obvious at the start of the fight that the majority of the people here were Basilio rooters, although both men are equally popular. There are a group of fans down from Utah, from the Mormon area, to root for Gene Fullmer because he always gives a slam-bang, all-out, honest performance. You can also sense, if you just tuned in, from the attitude of a corner, whether it's calm or whether they feel that their plan of attack is working. And this corner looks like a pretty confident corner. At one stage in the fight, after a toe-to-toe exchange, Basilio's knees buckled, and it looked as if he was ready to be knocked out. But when the match resumed, Fullmer went back to his stabbing, moving, boxing attack. He evidently didn't want to gamble on a knockout. The thing to remember that this essentially is a boxing match and points are scored. So it's up to the judges and the viewers to decide who is the better boxer and who is scoring the most points. Gene Fullmer is the winner on a TKO. The referee mercifully stopped the fight. Although Carmen hadn't been knocked down, he had been taking a beating ever since round 1. Carmen protested. Gene Fullmer, his strategy worked. He stayed outside, he jabbed, he moved, he was an elusive target. Carmen Basilio plowed straight forward, fought on a straight line, was easy to hit. Carmen was unable to get through the defensive tactics of Gene Fullmer, who covered up beautifully in close and who punched his way to the middleweight championship of the World National Boxing Association Middleweight Championship. Goes over to commiserate with poor Carmen, a popular but thoroughly beaten boy in the ring tonight. Angelo Dundee trying to console him. Of course, he's heartbroken, but there has to be a winner and a loser. Two fine boys. Now here is Don Dunphy.
And stopped the fight at 39 seconds. Now to Don Dunphy in the center of the ring. Don. Gene Fullmer getting tremendous applause for a wonderful fight here in the Cow Palace of San Francisco. Gene, congratulations on winning the NBA version of the middleweight title. Thank you. Tell us about the fight.
It was a rough fight, Don. I think Carmen is, well, let's say it this way. I hope I never meet a rougher guy. If I do, it might be the other way, because he was in there all the way. He put the pressure on. We fought the fight the way the manager figured to fight it, so everything went along fine. I'd like to say I give not the success to myself, but for everybody that was backing me, for my manager in the camp. Conditions down here in San Francisco, Don, were the best that I've ever seen anywhere.
Gene,
everyone was wonderful.
A couple of questions about the fight. You planned a running fight from the beginning, apparently.
That's right, Don. We figured Basilio would be putting the pressure on, which he did. There's no use two bulls going in there and locking horns. I figured that I would be faster and could beat him to the punch, and it worked out that way. But take nothing away from Basilio. If I had fought him the way he wanted to fight, things might have been different.
Well, did he hurt you a couple of times, didn't he, Gene?
Yes, he did. He's the toughest guy that I ever fought, bar none. He was in there, and he's a guy. I'd like to fight the guy again, give him another chance.
Well, that would be very nice. You'll never meet a gamer fighter, will you?
No, I never will, or a finer sport either.
Thank you very much, Gene. I'd like to ask your manager, Marv Jensen. Congratulations, Marv.
Thank you, Don.
Gene did the fighting. You
That's
must
right.
have done a lot of the planning, and you certainly planned a smart fight.
Well, if you plan it, you have to have someone to carry it out, and he can carry it out to perfection. I think that, as Gene said, I feel like that Carmen deserves another chance. I think he's the greatest guy that Gene's ever fought. Thank you, Don.
Thank you very much, Marv, and good luck.
I'd like to say Fred Savage is presenting the championship belt, the NBA championship belt after tonight.
Thank you very much, and good luck, Marv.